Thank you. Okay, we got close to 45 minutes. Let's talk about anything you want to talk about.
Cynthia, I'll share.
Please.
Just trying to get quiet enough and pause to say something that would be uplifting and what it came to, because I was kind of sitting there thinking, okay, God, what do you want? And what came to me, and I'll share a little bit about what you've been talking about too, about not doing enough, but is that I have been listening to the Joel every day, and I have been hearing some things, even though it seems to be, I'll get a little, hit once in a while of something that I can focus in on. And I found even, I've actually been gone for 2 weeks. I've just had a lot of trips, and that's been hard to maintain. I'm realizing that I do really well on a schedule, like, the meditation schedule, rest, nutrition, exercise, and I did a trip to the East Coast back in June for a week. To Atlantic City and then New York City, and then I came home. I had, I think, just a few weeks, and then I had another trip that I was taking my son on that I've been planning. We went on a cruise to the Caribbean. I mean, it's all good stuff, but it's also a lot of chub. That I took him on to the Caribbean cruise, and then we went, as if that wasn't enough, we drove to Orlando and went to Disney World for 3 days, and talk about chub.
Oh, there's a little bit of chub there.
God.
Yeah.
I can't even, you're talking about, like, somebody was saying about being tapped into the, I don't even know, it doesn't matter, but being tapped into the collective, either chub or, getting rising, I definitely know I'm not doing enough work, and I also see the powerlessness to do any more, like you talked about. I'm just watching that, and I also feel like I'm watching a kid. There's a kid there that is just out of control, that is just running the show, and, avoiding getting quiet, letting myself get distracted, and that's got to be a kid. It certainly can't be a spiritual adult, that's doing those things. And, what I was noticing, and I was doing some meditation in the morning, but not enough, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, maybe some days a half hour, and then just with the different schedule, my son would wake up, and I thought somewhere to be, so I would be, rushing off to do that. And but what I was noticing is that I was starting to, waiting in those lines at Disney World, or actually now everything's changed because they have, I thought I would get a break from the electronics, but now everything is like on the phone and the fast pass, and I was like, oh my God, you don't even wait in line anymore. You just like stay on the phone and schedule the rides and stuff. So it kept me frantic the whole time. I guess I had a choice. I didn't have to do that, but I didn't. But what I was noticing is that I was hearing all this chub, where I was like, where is that coming from? Like, just beliefs. I think I was picking up on everybody's, the collective of the chub of what was being radiated there. Mm-hmm. And all this judgment was coming back in. I was judging the people around me. I was judging myself. And I was like, and luckily I listened to some Matt, and he said, I just happened to be the right thing, and he said, one night, I woke up to it, actually I had been listening, I guess, to it all night. I woke up to him saying, somebody's question was, how much of what I'm hearing belongs to me? And he said, none. And I was like, oh wow, this is not mine that I'm hearing. Because I was thinking, I don't believe that about that person that I'm hearing, or it just was really, it was really uncomfortable, and it's taken, you know, so to dig myself out of that hole that I feel like I let myself get into, you know, and I think that I was, you know, I've been trying to write to the kid a little bit, and I feel like I did a lot to satisfy that adrenaline-liking maybe teenager that got to do the cruise and the dancing and the, you know, all the things that the kid keeps saying she wants. I mean, we got to dance a lot, and I had a lot of fun. Yeah. You know, I had some, which I think is important to play. So the play was there. You know, and I kept thinking when I felt really off balance, rest, nutrition, exercise, play. And without those, like you talked about, when I didn't have those on those days, even though I was on vacation, there was no way I was going to get lifted. You know, I was just in kid and unsatisfied, and then trying to take care of a child alone on top of that. And so I got to see how, I mean, I really went into it way down here because I was exhausted by the time I got him packed up, me packed up, us on a plane, you know, and you know, it just, yeah. So it was interesting to watch. It was a good experience. And to try to maintain some kind of spiritual, which I have to say, I mean, I've been trying to, one of the things I've been working with Adele, and she has me sending, I'm also working on another course which is not part of this work, but it's just something I felt like I needed to clear the wreckage, and doing that with her. And I felt like as long as I'm going to do it, I'd like to go to somebody who's in this work too, and it's been really good. But I've, you know, suggested to send my, because I feel very down on myself, you know, and it's been so hard during that time. You know, she suggested I started sending, you know, or something that she's doing, which is sending the celebrations, things that we're doing right, which is something that Matt had mentioned or had done before, and I couldn't even do that. And so her saying send it to her, texting it, like things, the celebrations that I did the day before, instead of frowning upon what I'm not doing, like, oh, I'm not doing an hour meditation, celebrate the fact that I'm doing 10 minutes, you know, or whatever, or that I'm doing the 22-minute practice. And I mean, when I first started doing that, it was easy, and now it's so hard to tune into that, to stop for those periods. I'm setting the timer, but I'm noticing. So again, focusing on what I have been doing, and you know, writing those in a text and sending it to her, and then kind of setting some intentions for the day. And I feel like they're way down here. You know, I want to be way up here, but they're way down here at the basic level. But I got to start somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, you know, we start where we are. You know, you're exactly right. You know, the rest, nutrition, exercise, and play. You know, that's, I keep saying, you know, that's the platform we stand on to do the spiritual work, you know, so it's absolutely essential, you know, that be permanent. And so we do that. We take care of ourselves, and play is critical. And I'm glad you're in touch with Adele and doing that work, because she's finding celebration, you know. You're an expression of God. Why aren't you celebrating that fact?
I know, right? And look at all the gifts that I got to do, and I can't.
Nothing but a necessary, critical expression of God. You know, all of us. Why are we not celebrating that? Because we don't see it.
Right. I mean, actually, when I was on the cruise, I had some phone issues, so I wasn't doing a lot, trying not to do, because it didn't work, and so I took a little break during that time. But also part of it was like, I felt this, I think, because I was in Chubb. I was like, I don't want to send that to her. I'm not, you know, like I really felt way down here. And then I felt like once I got home, I was ready to get back on and start doing it again. And I've done it the last couple. But even the resistance to that, because I think I'm just in script. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. I don't want to send it to her because she's going to see, you know. And I'm just saying all this because it's just, I got to get it all out there. And hopefully you can see the lie in all of that.
And always see that that's kid, that's not you.
Right.
Always see that Remember who you are, and that's kid. You know, who we are, there's no possibility of not good enough or unacceptable or anything, you know. So.
Well, one of the things that I said there was this kid that seems very satisfied with all that, but what I see is that there's maybe another piece of me that absolutely is not getting its needs met as far as really feeling taken care of, like the running fast as you can part that I tend to do, and I've heard other people share that the staying so busy that I can't feel, or that I can't seem to stop that, and that's got to be a kid.
That would be a kid. Yep.
And like this is something that Adele and I have talked about, and I was so happy to hear her say that. Is that paying attention to things like, do I have to go to the bathroom? Have I eaten? Am I taking time to have a meal? Like I was just doing some writing, and the kid was. I'm rushing, eating, and like I have to look at those subtle things because I feel like that is I'm ignoring that part. And as far as that feels a little bit like neglect, and maybe one of the kids is okay with that, but there's certainly a piece of me that's not feeling taken care of.
The way you treat yourself is the message that your kids are getting. It's real simple. And if you haven't got time to take care of yourself, that is a message that the kids are getting, you know. If you haven't got time to take care of yourself properly, you know, that the kids are getting that message.
And that's going to be radiated out to my experiences, right?
Yeah, and she's not going to want to hang out with you, and she's not going to want to get her script broken. She's not going to, you know. If you're not taking care of yourself, your kid is getting the message that she's not worth taking care of. So, the work is always being present here now, and seeing what we're doing, you know, taking time, doing, I guess integrity is a good word, but you know, taking the time to do this thing properly. So yeah.
Well, I can see how it just keeps on that wheel of running as fast as you can, and then there's that kid who doesn't have the needs met. Then I radiate the script, and then I feel like I do where I feel like, what's the point? And and then I start wanting to try. The kid wants to go out there to get somebody else to fulfill it.
Absolutely.
Which is what I came home feeling very unfulfilled and wanting to grasp on to somebody, something out there to make me feel better. And that's where I've been out the last few days, and I've been watching it and feeling resentful at certain situations and people. And I thought, I'm not going to do anything until I start meeting my own needs and stop, not going to tell anybody off or do anything until I start meeting my own needs, and then I'll see how I feel.
That's right. That's the whole thing.
So.
I was telling somebody a couple of days ago, go back to the latest edition of the Script and Kid book and start reading it section by section, and when you get to when you get to a section which is not finished, stay there until it's finished, and keep working over that section until that section is finished, and it's got to be finished individually with each different kid. So like with one kid you may be on step 3, and another kid you may be on step 6, but slowly, carefully thoroughly go through the book and see what speaks to you and what work you're not doing with your kids. All of this stuff that we're talking about is in that book. That book is,
Oh, it's very complete, yeah.
Very complete now. We really, that's 13 Script and Kids workshops that we've done together. We've done a lot of work to learn that much, and so it's very complete. And use it now, but use it slowly. Don't read it and go on to the next section. Read it and write with the kid and find out if that's done.
Well, that could be part of what's going on. Is the older kid maybe, or one of the kids might be at one point, like you said, and then the other one might be way back here at.
Fine, and she's off the hook. She's off the hook, and you're up there dancing with her, and this one down here, teaching her that there's nothing to be ashamed of. Okay? And that's fine. And each one is at their own place, and each one has their next thing to learn, and you have, well, you need to find time to write to the ones that need something every day and help them through that. And so if you've got a kid that's full of guilt and shame, then you stay right there and write to them about guilt and shame and how silly it is and how ridiculous it is and that nobody has any reason to be guilty or ashamed because they've always been doing the best they can, yada, 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 yada. But you write that until the kid is not feeling guilty or ashamed. And then you move on. And, thoroughly. I remember Christy once was, years ago, she had a group of ladies that she was taking to the Christian State works, and I think they worked 9 weeks or 10 weeks, or maybe they never got done with 100% responsibility, because they were doing that. They were staying there until they felt they were done with it, and taking 100% responsibility, went on for months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear that. That's, yeah. So treat it that way, and just go slowly and thoroughly, because if it takes you a year to get through that book with one kid, how could you have better spent the year?
Right. It's true.
And we're really talking 10 or 15 minutes in the morning of serious focused writing with each kid, at the most, I mean, in some cases that's not necessary, but thoughtful writing, and I'm more and more convinced, making a case for the spiritual truth. Even if you don't believe it, if you don't have enough spiritual adulting gear that you believe it, forget whether the kids believe it or not, they don't, but if you don't have enough spiritual adulting gear yet that you believe it, still make the case until you do believe it. This is what treatment is about, is working with spiritual truth until we lift ourselves to the point where we realize, make real, the truth of it. So, and that's, it's just daily nickel and dime work, just a little bit of work every day, but back every day and a little bit more work. And, that's the progress maker. And then there's breakthroughs, you do that for 2 or 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden there's a huge click and you're, a mile down the road.
Yeah, I think that there's a kid that's just putting the brakes on and saying, I'm not going to do any more until this is addressed, until
good,
something.
And good for her.
Yeah.
Because that's the most important thing in your life right now, is addressing that.
I guess so. It seems to be back to the Joel thing. The one thing I heard, and I need to listen to it again, I think it was on yesterday's, and he was kind of talking about, I couldn't understand quite what point he was making, but he was talking about how we come up with these, and it kind of reminded me of kid work a little bit, but the part where he said, oh, when I was a kid, somebody spanked me, so now I'm going to go.
Yeah, he was just dumping out. He was just heaping shit on psychology.
That's what I thought. So was he saying that that there's no validity to it?
He was, I don't know whether he would say that or not in each particular individual case, but he was on a campaign about a bunch of stuff, and he suddenly was pointing out the absolute uselessness of all of psychology and psychiatry, because he strongly believes that psychology and psychiatry have never healed anybody of anything, and so that's all that was about.
Okay, yeah, because he said something about, somebody spanked me, and now I'm going to, I don't know if you said rob banks to show them that they can't.
He was exaggerating. He was just making a point, making his anti-psychiatry point. Right,
and I thought, God, I've never heard him say those kind of, I don't remember. I know he's always talked about with psychiatry, how it hasn't healed anyone. I heard that. But it really made me think, too, how I've kind of gone back into that kind of thinking where, well, I mean, I guess the kid work isn't like that, but there are things that I've looked at, I guess, it's that living between two worlds in the AA, how we talk about, you hear a lot of that kind of thing shared at meetings, and, oh, this happened to me, and I've been doing some of that work again, and I'm like, God, am I falling back into that? I don't know, it gets confusing. Like, is it good to go back and look at it? I don't know. I guess even with the kid work.
All of this is human stuff.
Okay.
And what's good is to change your work on your spiritual consciousness, ignoring those questions, whether I need to worry about whether I spank too much or too little, or am I doing too much of this. Take no thought about what you'll eat or what you'll drink or what psychology you'll do, or take no thought about the human things at all. Seek ye the kingdom of God. So that the answer is always that it doesn't matter whether that's right or wrong, or whether you're doing too much or too little, or because it won't change your spiritual consciousness. And if it doesn't change your spiritual consciousness, your experience will not change. And that's the big objection, And of course, in his day, there weren't all these counselors who were, doing a lot of good, and helping people through difficulties. But still, that work, although it may keep them from committing suicide, is not changing their consciousness, and so their experience won't change significantly. So, and the answer is, do the work that's necessary to change your to grow your spiritual consciousness. And that means we now know to realize more of who you are. To realize more of the truth about yourself, who you really are, the I that I really am.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, I will stay in touch. I didn't know that I would love to do a walk or something. And,
yeah.
I know we've done meditation together, but sounds good.
Yeah, sure. Who else? Jump in, somebody.
This is Tree.
Oh, hey, Tree.
And see, it feels like there's a new kid, I want to say, but it might just be the little one that, boy, have I been working with her for a long time. And but just a lot more vocal lately about what she needs, and a lot more writing. In fact, she's even said, I need to be reassured a lot. I need to be written to a lot. And so whenever some kind of feeling or glitch or fear comes up, I try to do it in the moment. And so I've been working with her a lot. And a while back, like in April, I hit my 1-year mark at my new job. And before that, I had this realization that, the schedule that I have now does not, the schedule that I used to have with my old job does not go with this new job. Like meetings and sleep and grocery shopping and everything. It doesn't, nothing was working. It was frantic 7 days a week. So I did the thing where you get the daytimer with nothing in it. And I started from scratch with these hours and with these days. And forget the meetings I'm going to. Let's see what else is out there that fits. And I redid everything with a very open mind. And so now there is space and there is time and it flows. And it's not frantic anymore. And one of the things that this kid was telling me was, I need lots and lots of space and I need lots and lots of time. And there wasn't any, and so now there is, and I'm giving her that. And I guess she's small or teeny tiny or something. She needs lots and lots of rest. And it's not necessarily lots of sleep, but lots of rest. Like, I can't even believe it. Like the things that were done to her or whatever in past lifetimes, she didn't get to rest or something. But anyway, I've been giving that to her like crazy. And a couple times I didn't even come here because of it. It was more important to do that with her than to come here on a couple of Sundays because it just all worked out that that's what I was doing that day with her. And it's been amazing to see what's on the other side of that. And I've been making sure that I go to bed earlier so that I can get all the rest that I/she needs. And I wasn't ever willing to do that before. I just want to stay up as late as possible and do as much as I can. And then going to bed earlier and then waking up earlier and having that space in the morning to listen to Joel and meditate. And I mean, it's just been dynamite. The way that I feel all the time and how happy I am all the time. I'm like, wow, I'm happy. I'm really happy. And then when I don't get it for some reason, there it is. I didn't get it. I can feel it all coming back in. And also that space and that time and that rest is turning into this period of time that I really look forward to. It feels like once I get all the rest and sleep that I need and the space and the time, after that comes like a connection with God that just stays there until I guess I get tired again. And it's really something that I'm looking forward to every day now. I can't wait to jump in bed and get that sleep and wake up in the morning and get there again.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then I too was going to ask you after class today, are you doing walks? Can I come by and talk sometime? Because I have a couple questions. So
Yeah.
it's good to know.
Yeah. Are your kids still in elementary school?
No.
I mean, it's been a while. I have no idea where your boys are, what they're doing. It's been a while. Yeah.
Oh.
But wait till the heat's all over.
Yeah.
We don't need to walk at 92, but we can walk at 82. Yeah, cool. Absolutely. Yeah. You bet. Phone line?
Hi, Lee, it's Patty.
Hi, Patty.
Hi. Can I come walk with you too?
Yeah, you bet. You bet you can. Hell of a
It would be
commute,
a
but
long
you
walk
bet we
to get
can.
there, but
Love to.
yeah, I wanted to comment on the thing. Like, I'm so envious that Sri can't wait to jump into bed early and get up and meditate, because I have developed quite a problem with staying up late, and quite honestly, it feels hopeless sometimes, which I know as a kid, and I've tried writing to my kid about it, and I don't get very far. I don't know what it is that I literally resist going to bed. I could be exhausted, just completely exhausted, and I just resist going to bed. And I don't know if you have an experience with that or have had other people with that issue.
And you can't dialogue with her and find out why she doesn't want to go to bed?
Well, when I write about it, this kid comes out that says that she's, really upset because she's really tired. But I haven't been able to get to anything else.
Yeah.
I think that what's come to me like throughout the day is I think what it is like some kind of fear of, I don't know if it's like a fear of missing out or like a fear of I don't know, just not being fulfilled. So if I think I stay up later, I'm gonna feel that. I don't know. Then I always regret it the next day. I'm just really tired and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating though, because I know what I need to be doing.
Yeah, my only suggestion there is to continue working with it, getting a dialogue going on so that you know why she needs to stay up, and then start correcting it. 4 to 20
It
pages.
feels like
4 to 20
it feels
pages
like
a
an
day.
addiction.
I'm
It
sorry?
feels like an addiction. It's that same feeling of like, when I would drink too much and I'd say, oh gosh, I'm not going to do that again tonight. And then tonight would come around and then I would do it again. That's what it feels like. Oh, I'm not going to do that tonight. Tonight I'm going to go to bed at 10. And then, right now I'm staying up till like 12, 1.
But there's a reason, something.
Yeah.
Something will happen if we go to bed now. I mean, either we'll miss out on something, or or die, or I don't know what. But something will happen if we don't go to bed right now. So that,
Yeah, and that's kind of what has come to me at times. Is it's almost like when you said the die thing, it's so kind of ridiculous that I'm like, why? I don't know. Maybe it's a past life thing. I don't know.
See, my only suggestion right now is see if you can get her to articulate what's going on, because without that we won't have any clarity, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's there's like some anxiety around it too. So maybe if I ask her about what she's anxious about or what the anxiety is about, maybe that would be a better way to go.
Yeah.
An angle to go at.
You can do it right at the hour when she's resisting going to bed. Right there, dialogue, and say,
Yeah.
what will we miss, or what will happen if we go, or ask some questions and do that until she chooses to answer them. I think,
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like I'm just dealing with the resistance behavior of well, I just won't open my computer past a certain time, or I won't turn the TV on, and those things they work like maybe once or twice, but they're not getting to the root of the problem.
No, there's a reason. Somebody has a belief that's not true, and it needs to be identified and corrected.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, drop in. I'll walk with you.
I wish.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Get you guys back out here.
Although it's pretty hot out there now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got up, but it depends on where you are. The worst we had was 92 was here yesterday. We got up to 92 at mid-afternoon, but inland it's considerably hotter. I'm so blessed, the ocean's 2 blocks away, and that's just a wonderful equalizer. This side of the hill is usually 10 degrees cooler in the summer and 10 degrees warmer in the winter.
Nice.
Time for one more.
Hey, Lee, it's Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hey. Well, I heard a lot in the class of doing more, and it's exactly what I personally needed to hear. Summers kind of get a little tough with having the kids home from school. I was really excited today when I walked into Walmart and I saw school supplies and
Thank God school's about to start.
I mean,
in July. Shame on you.
I mean, I was gonna sing Hallelujah through the aisles, and I'm usually big on hating that Walmart pushes everything, all the holidays and stuff. But I was extremely excited, and then when you said we're not going to be doing class, I was like, oh, and just right there, that roller coaster, and so I know that the work has to be amped up, and I don't know if anybody can identify with this, but I especially feel like this in the summer because of the kids. You know, there are days that, you know, it's like I'm doing reenactments, or is that the story, or is that the truth with these little kids? And then I just, you know, there's a part of me that just gets really angry that I'm not taking care of myself. It's like the AA thing, if I don't put my oxygen mask on, I can't help them, and, you know, I lose sight of that during the summer.
Yep.
So I hope that, you know, started this email, it would be certainly nice if the ones that are wanting to, you know, do this with the kids, to stay in touch, especially with us, you know, ending classes for the fall, because I'm ready to jump.
Yeah. Well, that's never been my issue. So I don't know much about how to schedule kids in the summer. You know, you're about to become our kid expert, so. You do the best you can, and you always have been, and you always will be, so that's not an issue, but you accept the fact that you're doing the best you can, and it may appear that there's not enough of this or that, whatever, you know, it may appear imperfect, but it is perfect, you know, everything's fine, and September is coming.
Yeah, well, if I leave now, maybe I can make the walk by Friday. I don't know. So.
Yeah. So, you know, that's a standard thing, you know, especially new mothers have, you know, the demands of a newborn baby are so high that very often new mothers find it apparently almost impossible to take care of themselves, and that has to be, you know, you have to decide what's important, and you know, your kids do not have to use all of your time all day every day during the summer, you know, they don't have to do everything. They don't have to do everything they want to do. You know. The bottom line is, if I'm not taking care of myself sufficiently, then I'm not any good to anybody. So you have to keep that in mind. You have to just make sure you get yourself on your schedule.
Yeah, and you know, Ann sent me a tape today, and it was on Rupert was on boredom, and that boredom and objects, and I've noticed, you know, we'll go to a movie, and you know, so that takes the boredom, and then, you know, right after I do that, they should come home and be good, right? I did that, right? And it never fails. That's not, you know, it's like, so if I keep on continuously, you know, okay, if we do this and, you know, plan all day long, it's really not giving them the time to be with themselves and entertain themselves, and to not turn to objects.
Yeah, there's something in the script and kid book about, you know, making sure whose voice you're listening to when decisions are being made, and what the children want isn't always the wisest thing for them. And, you know, I mean, there always needs to be a spiritual adult, and if as we spend more time paying attention to our spiritual adult, and as we develop that muscle, then instincts will kick in more and more, and you'll know what to do, and when to say no, and when to say yes, and when to do things and when not to.
True.
If you're trying to figure it out humanly, you're on the wrong side of the coin. But if you pause for a couple of seconds and go within and you know, sort of what's the right thing to do in this situation for everybody concerned. Me, the kids, the family, the dog, the AA sponsees that aren't getting enough, you know, you can always go within and find the answer that's the best for the whole, for everyone, and to the extent that we can, that's what we do. You know, we don't try to please everybody, but we try to serve everybody.
All right. Well, thank you, lady, very much, and look forward to September.
Yeah, I really hope. Thank you all so much. Thank you, everybody, especially the group that are on the phone right now and here at the house, the stalwarts. They're the core group here that has been very strong all summer. And, you know, I hope that this pause will bring us to a place where we can jump off to a whole new level, because that's what I need to do. And I think that's probably what we all need to do, is gather up and get quiet. And but do spend the time. You know, I've been listening to the audios, and there's a lot of really good information there, and I haven't found anything there that, there are several things there that could have been said better, but there's nothing there that I've heard so far that shouldn't have been said. So take your time and wander through them. You know, do one of them periodically, and get the truth, get the spiritual truth etched into you. And meanwhile, I'll be sorting and organizing and trying to make it more available, because that's who I am. I want everything to be spelled out in steps in the right order and presented well, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I love you all, and this has been a really good 16 weeks for me, and I have some great work to do next 2 months, and I look forward to starting something brand new and much more exciting and invigorating in the fall. So bless you all, and thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Love you. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Love you all.
Thank you all. Have a joyous summer.
You bet.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bless you all.
They do.